What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
How long have you been working on that theme song? I was like, we're going to stream about the Bad Batch. And Molly immediately started writing.
You gotta have a theme song.
You're going to take one word and swap it with another one. What's up, guys? A new Star Wars series was announced today, and we wanted to talk about it. Real quick, I'm just going to read the press release that StarWars.com put out, and then we'll talk about our feelings and our immediate reaction. And we already have some super chats coming in. We'll get to those. We'll answer your questions. But just to get this out of the way, today Disney Plus ordered its next animated series from Lucasfilm, Star Wars: The Bad Batch, fresh off the critically acclaimed series finale of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. The Disney Plus original series will premiere on the streaming service in 2021. The series follows the elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch, first introduced in the Clone Wars as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War. Members of the Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the clone army, each possess a singular exceptional skill which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers and a formidable crew. In the post-Clone Wars era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. That's the basic synopsis. There's a little bit more, but honestly, I'm kind of out of breath. We just walked Hilo. It's like, that's a lot of reading, and I'm tired.
Boy. Well, you recorded a quick video this morning, and we walked the dog, and...
Yeah, try to calm him down so he doesn't jump all over us immediately for the first.
He's still scratching at the door.
I know. He'll go back to sleep soon. That's the basics. What are you feeling about this?
My first gut reaction was meh. To be honest, I was kind of like, the Bad Batch arc was okay. It wasn't obviously wasn't my favorite part of season 7. It wasn't the worst part either. I don't know. Like, I was just kind of like, we're still doing Clone Wars stuff, okay. But I've had more feelings since then.
I mean, yeah, it's the same thing that we always say. It's got to be a joke by now. It's cautious optimism. Like any new announcement, my gut instinct is to be optimistic about it. But yeah, it did kind of surprise me that I'm like, really? That's where we're going to go next? We've heard rumors of this. Shout out to our buddies Noah and Corey over at Kessel Run Transmissions. They've been kind of hinting that this is coming for a while. They've also been hinting at a Star Wars sequel series for a long time, like a lot longer.
Talking about Rebels?
Oh, Rebels, yeah. Would I just say Star Wars?
Just more Star Wars.
I hear they're going to do some Star Wars. Yeah, they've been talking about a Rebels sequel series, so I thought that would have been announced first. I'm surprised this is first, but, everyone loved the final season of the Clone Wars. They just want to, keep that going, I guess.
Right.
And yeah, my initial instinct was like, okay, not my first choice, because just in general, I think I'll always be more excited for something new, and to be like... This isn't quite the Clone Wars. We're in a post-Clone Wars era, which excites me. And really, I think a lot of people that I'm seeing online go like, the Bad Batch. Like, the title alone, the characters don't excite me. Well, the synopsis is what really excites me.
Right.
That tells you what the substance of the story is going to be. That, we're going to take a look at clones and who these people are now that they have no purpose.
Right. Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
My first gut reaction was more just thinking about the Bad Batch episodes from that arc and how they were okay, they were kind of cool, but also a little bit silly, and I don't know. But
I think now is actually a great time to read Third Man 3. Thank you for the super chat before the stream even started. He enjoyed the Bad Batch characters, but not enough to follow them in their own show. You were looking forward to a Rebels follow-up show, so we're already kind of talking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think let's talk about the Bad Batch characters for a second, because I agree. That was my first thought, was just really? We're going to focus on those guys who were fun. I liked the Bad Batch arc. But for 4 episodes, I was like, yeah, okay. For an entire series, it's like they're going to have to really give them more depth.
Yeah, and I think they for sure will. The more I thought about it, I thought about Echo being now a part of the Bad Batch. Someone pointed out that they were given their own theme music. And they were like, why would they have done that if they weren't going to continue the story somehow? And I was like, oh, that's a really good point.
I was grabbing screen grabs for the quick video I threw together earlier today, and it's like when Echo joins the Bad Batch and they're all saluting and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like clearly that's one of the reasons the Bad Batch arc was included in all the final series, and it made sense without them having their own series, but this is just more like, yes, of course.
And so many people were curious if we would get like a time jump at the end of season 7 to see like how Rex ends up in Rebels or something like that. And like, I think they were just saving a lot for this show. So it may be that the Bad Batch characters are the kind of like main characters at first, but I think there's lots of potential for other stuff.
Yeah, to say, like, obviously they will be central to the show, but I don't think they're going to be the only characters. And to what you just said, this does say it's in the immediate aftermath of the Clone War, so I'm not expecting a time jump. Like, I could see this basically just being a Clone Wars sequel. But and I said this in my video, they are caricatures right now, especially Wrecker, who, again, I love the guy. He's just shoulder pressing a gonk droid and eating a chicken leg. Like, come on, that's funny.
I need to post my Wrecking Ball music video clip that I made.
Well, now you're going to be able to do one every week. But I do think that they will take a lot of time and actually explore these characters. If the Clone Wars as an entire series was able to take the clones and give them all so much character, like everyone has their own unique favorite clone, but they're all the same person, and that's the point, is that they're not. If they can take the one-dimensional clones from the films and turn them into like just this really deep set of characters, I'm sure they can do the same for Wrecker and Tracker, and I can't even remember all the nerd and
yeah, Smart Man.
Tech. That was just Tech.
I call him Smart Man.
And I can't even. Man, I'm slacking on my trivia today.
Well, and two, this taking place right after the Clone War and Order 66 and all that, like, this could be a pretty like heavy tone show.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, all the clones are dealing with this PTSD situation, or at least the ones that like are able to snap out of it.
Yeah,
and
that'll be fun to see, and that's my hope. I think we talked about this Saturday about Rex and like my desire to see him and what's he doing. I think his in-between time of the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels is very compelling, that he can go to all of these clone characters that we know. How does he find Gregor? What is Gregor doing? How does he get him on his team? Same with Wolf. Cody? Like, where's Cody in Star Wars Rebels? Now we can get an answer, and I like that Rex can approach all these clones, and not all of them are going to agree with him. Some of them are probably going to fight him. Yeah. Some will join him. Like, there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, and just the potential of Cody and Rex and Ahsoka being in this show and having like a side story maybe of them going and finding these clones.
Yeah,
like that needs to happen.
I'm a little bit like Ahsoka again, only because it's like she's in everything, and that's my one issue with this show right now, is that like
I don't think they'll be big. Like this is
Again,
going to be
yeah,
a story about the Bad Batch and them being mercenaries. But yeah,
I like the mercenary angle.
Mm-hmm.
Different kinds of missions and stuff. But yeah, it's the same thing where like, okay, these are new-ish characters. I want to stick with them. I don't want connections to take over. I've already seen people talking about like, oh, Cal Kestis could show up, and A, I kind of doubt it because it sounds like it's 5 years too early for that. And B, it's like, no, I just want to focus on what the show is and not make it a cameo extravaganza.
What do you think about Yoda and Kashyyyk?
What about them?
Just seeing any of that, seeing them.
I guess it depends on where the Bad Batch is at the start.
Yeah.
They were going to have an arc on Kashyyyk, so it's possible that they would have been there.
I've just seen people talking about that too.
I don't know. I mean, and those are questions I have. Like, did they execute Order 66? How did that go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If they didn't, how do they feel about it all?
Yeah. And as far as like post Clone War Order 66, I just scrolled all the way down. Whoops. We're going to get to see maybe some early Empire stuff, which is going to be cool.
Yeah, we could see that transition happening.
And maybe some Inquisitors.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Everything's a maybe right now. And I just scrolled past some of the super chats that we got earlier. Whoops. How do I go back to
I don't think you can.
that?
Hold on.
Should I keep singing my theme song for the Bad Batch? Yeah, I've seen people mention, like, would we see Vader in this show and what he's up to with the Inquisitors? And that's a possibility too, but, you know, I don't think we're going to have too many big cameos other than the other clones that we know and Ahsoka.
Yeah, same thing. Like, I don't want to pull focus. I don't want this to become all of a sudden about Vader. Like, I want it to be about the clones and stuff. If we're going to stay in this same kind of time period, I want to explore something new.
Yeah.
And it's like, we've had Ahsoka, we've had plenty of Vader. Let's do more clone stuff. That sounds cool to me, especially with their mental state right now. Okay. I think we are just missing one super chat that you scrolled by from our buddy Jake Berlin. Thank you for the super chat.
Hi, Jake.
Although it isn't the main animated show I wanted, I'm very optimistic. It'll be interesting to see these characters navigate this specific time. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
The Order 66 thing is especially compelling to me because they've explored it a little bit in the comics. We've seen Rex break out of it, but it's always really interesting to watch that. And like, I want, maybe Gregor's mental state is that way because maybe he made his way back to the Republic only to like have Order 66 turn on or something.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see it happen all over again from like other points of view, and it's gonna be intense.
Yes. I like the exploration of what does this mean for the clones? They have fulfilled their purpose, and their purpose was terrible. So how do you move on from that? And what you did, even though you weren't under its control, like how some of them, I guess, accept it and stay with the Empire, and some of them reject it and go with Rex. Like, that's a really cool story idea.
Yeah. Our next super chat is from, what are we calling him? Floof?
We can say Floof for simplicity's sake.
But you no longer get to tease me about this, aka Floof, aka other things. Thank you for the super chat. Bad Batch for the new Lego Star Wars, please.
That wouldn't surprise me. Although, I think the new game is being marketed as like the Skywalker saga. It would still be, I don't think it would be impossible to include Clone Wars minifigs in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. I'm on board with that.
JG Kars, thank you for the super chat. You think we'll get any solo connections?
I don't think so.
I feel like that's jumping a little bit too far ahead.
Yeah, agreed. That's they're saying immediate aftermath. And honestly, now that I think about it, Ahsoka is supposed to be in hiding for a year. So there should be, if she were to appear in the show, there should be some time before she does.
Yeah. Although it would be cool if we could see, like, the original Cloud Rider gang.
Yeah. I mean, that would be interesting. Especially if they were, like... I'm curious who is hiring them for mercenary jobs. Mm-hmm. Like, Crimson Dawn? Are they gonna... There's another kind of moral quandary that they're gonna have to face. Like, if they're freelancers, mm-hmm. do we take jobs from people like Maul or the Hutt Cartel? Mm-hmm. Or do we take jobs from people like Enfys Nest and the Cloud Riders?
Right. Or I guess maybe her mother, because didn't she...
Yeah, right. Well, I think she would still be Enfys Nest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a solid possibility.
But like I keep saying, I want a Crimson Dawn like crime syndicate show on its own. So I don't know if I'd rather save that for that or have it pop up in something like this.
I think you could do both, and that's something that in my mind when you say Solo connections, I immediately think of Han Solo. But it's like, yeah, Dryden Voss was in the Clone Wars Season 7. Mm-hmm. They've made his model.
That's true.
And I was surprised that they did. I was like, interesting that they made Dryden Voss for like a 2-second shot. I just assumed it was a fun Easter egg, but that makes a lot of sense.
Maybe they're doing some work for him.
Right. I could see that, him being in there.
Ooh, interesting.
I like
that. Got another super chat. This one doesn't have a comment on it, but Dima Jader, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you. I'll keep an eye out in the chat to see if... He said, wait, why is there no message again? There you go. Why do I have the feeling Echo won't survive the series? Dave Filoni has the tendency to bring back beloved clones only to kill them again.
Oh, man.
Well, there is that. I mean...
Him being the newest member of the Bad Batch, but then, like, dying would be so sad.
If Rex is in the show, and he is trying to recruit clones to come hang out with him on this ATTE, or whatever they're doing at this point in time... Yeah, now you have the question of where's the Bad Batch? Where's Echo? Why weren't they in Star Wars Rebels? Mm-hmm. So, you know, that doesn't bode well.
Might be a sad answer. Do you want to read the next one?
Sure. Alex Franco, thanks for the super chat. Will Clone Force 99 turn into Task Force 99? I was hoping someone would ask about this, so... Great job. In the Star Wars comics, there is a group of stormtroopers called Task Force 99 who are very similar to Clone Force 99 to the point where it's like, is that the same group? I think their sergeant would have had to have been swapped out. But it is an interesting connection. Like, there's a big, strong one. There's a tech one. There's a sharpshooter.
And they're all bad guys.
Yes. I have always been under the impression that it was just inspired by Clone Force 99. A similar team took on a similar name, but there's nothing to say that I'm wrong. I mean, like, I could very well be wrong.
I mean, yeah, that could have been like a placeholder idea for like, maybe this is what happened to them, but then... Season 7 of the Clone Wars happened, and it did really, really well, and then they were like, we got to continue this story for the clones.
It could be a mix as well. Maybe some of the Bad Batch wind up going back to the Empire. I mean, I still can't remember the sharpshooter's name. That's going to bug me. But he was kind of a jerk. Like,
yeah.
I could see him... potentially leaving his friends. I don't know.
It'd be interesting if like they broke up at
and that would be sad.
At the end of this season, if there's going to be multiple seasons of this, we don't know yet. And then you had a smaller Bad Batch.
Yeah.
A bad half batch. Matt Thornton, thank you for the super chat. I wonder what became of the Zygerian species after the Clone Wars. Since Anakin hated them so much, I'm guessing he either enslaved or wiped them all out after he became Darth Vader.
I feel like
Remind me about this species.
We haven't gotten back to them in our Clone Wars rewatch, but they're a species of slavers. They look kind of like cats. I feel like they popped up in something I recently read or somewhere. So I don't think they've been wiped out. And I don't know if I get the sense that Darth Vader cares about that stuff anymore. There was an Age of Republic comic where Anakin saw some slaves and got really mad. I don't think Darth Vader has those same hang-ups. I mean, the Empire enslaved species. Yeah. So, like...
I don't think him himself is going around being like, oh yeah, here's that thing that I didn't like, and either wiping them out or doing things personally.
Yeah, he did do that to the Tusken Raiders.
Well, that's
a bit more personal.
Different, yeah.
And it was like on his way. in the comics, he was like, I'm on Tatooine anyway.
If it's on my way.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the Empire kind of like took control of the slaving market.
Yeah.
And crushed them. I don't know. Ted Comet, thanks for the super chat. Are you hoping for a sequel to their OG appearance or a prequel to their OG appearance? Well, it sounds like it's definitely a sequel. They've placed it firmly within the post-Clone Wars era, and which I'm grateful for, because I think that's the most interesting way we could explore the clones now, especially after what we saw in the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah. I think we're past getting any prequel looks at them.
I wouldn't write off flashbacks, especially if we're gonna be, like I'm saying, we need to learn more about these characters so they're not just like the big smashy one and the leader one and the techie one. Like, there needs to be more depth to them, so I could kind of see them exploring how they were brought up on Kamino.
Yeah. Ted Comment, thank you again for a super chat. Also, trivia, what's the name of Biggs's astro droid?
R2-Q2.
All right.
Don't come at me with Biggs trivia.
Moving on.
Don't come at me.
Do you have him?
R2-Q2? I think he's in that X-Wing up there.
Let me not break anything. Ta-da.
Because the X-Wing comes with the Biggs minifig.
You can't. Nobody can see this. He's there. I'll put him out
there. John Booze, thank you for the super chat. Your nephew Caleb asks, did the Bad Batch have inhibitor chips, and how could they have resisted if they did?
Good question.
I assume they did.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would be like, hey, we first of all don't know for sure whether or not they were made purposefully or if they were just mutations that were favorable.
That's a good way to have a flashback.
Right.
Like, yeah, were they on purpose or was this an accident? If this was accidental, is there some way that maybe the chip didn't work for them?
I don't think so. Like, I think all clones have the inhibitor chips, and like all we know is that they're clones with favorable mutations, I think is what Cody says. Just mutations that are good. So whether or not that was on purpose or not is up in the air, I think. But I don't, if it was on purpose, I don't know why the Kaminoans are going to be like, we're going to make a super strong one, but
and not
give it an inhibitor chip.
Yeah.
So I think they have them, and I don't think they would be able to resist unless it were, like Rex knew he knew about the inhibitor chips. He knew what was happening when it was happening.
Right.
And he still couldn't fully resist it. So I think force help any poor Jedi who's stuck with the Bad Batch as backup.
I got lost in the comments again. Uh-oh. I don't know why
stop scrolling.
I don't know why that keeps happening.
Are you clicking that?
No.
Oh, hold on.
Sorry, we are just blabbing away and gotta read these super chats. And I scroll past them and then we can't see them anymore.
Jake Berlin should be the next one.
Okay. Okay.
Flashback episodes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Jake Berlin, could we possibly see flashback episodes on how they became defective and eventually becoming this rogue group? So
we're psychic.
Yeah,
we knew that question was coming.
we just talked about that. But thank you, Jake. Everybody check out Certain Point of View Schmodown show. I just became a co-host. Jake is also a co-host.
If you're a Schmodown fan, they break down all Schmodown action.
Gotta plug my stuff now. Vader X Bricks, thank you for the super chat. Getting closure for Cody as well as a reunion with Rex would be cool. We need to know what happened to our boy Cody. Exactly.
Totally agree. And I was one of the people that in Star Wars Rebels was like, feels like a lost opportunity to not bring in Cody and have like this clone showdown. Mm-hmm. But maybe they had this story in the back of their minds during Star Wars Rebels and were like, let's hold on to this. It's the same kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a question later too, Barasafi. Like, yep. Dave Filoni has said before, he's not done with her.
She's in his pocket.
Right.
Like, they're saving her for something. We don't know what.
Yeah, what it is, I have no idea. But, like, that's why everyone keeps... The seventh sister pops up, and they're like, oh, it's a Mirialian. Like, it could be Barasafi. No, it's a new character.
No? Okay.
And then the second sister comes up, and it's like, ooh, she's wearing a mask. Like, why is she wearing a mask? Who's underneath there? Is it Barasafi? No, it's not. Like, eventually, we're going to find out. But, yes, I think that this would be an even better place for the Rex-Cody reunion to happen. Mm-hmm. I think it would be a lot more emotional, and I'm glad now that they have held on to it, assuming this is in the cards.
Callum Derbyshire, I hope I said that correctly. Thank you for the super chat. I would love to see a planet full of clones or clone bars.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely an interesting, like, what do the clones do now?
Yeah, do they like find a planet somewhere and they're like, they stick their flag in it and they're like, well, this is ours now. We don't really have a purpose anymore, but you know, we're still alive. It's
like they're definitely allowed to stay within the Empire because we know that some do, and that's kind of my guess. In Legends, that's what Cody did. I'm fully expecting that that's what he's going to do now.
If that were the case, though, would the ones that join the Empire out the ones that have not joined?
I guess it depends. Like, I kind of see the Empire not caring. Like, I think it's almost sadder if they're like, we're done with you. You're not even worth hunting down. Like, yeah.
And we don't know how many there are that are still around.
Right.
I imagine this is what, Ahsoka and Rex will be doing, is looking for clones to save, but I don't see them saving a ton of them.
I mean, there's only 2 besides Rex in Star Wars Rebels, so yeah. They did say, I think Henry Gilroy at Dragon Con a couple years ago said that the original plan was to have like 7 clones on there, but they were like, okay, this is getting out of hand. So interesting to hear maybe who those other clones were.
Yeah.
Floof, thanks for another super chat. We already know Clone Wars content is in the game. Okay, talking about Lego Star Wars again. There's a 501st and 332nd clone set. Okay, cool. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Bad Batch in here. Like, if they're going with that kind of corporate synergy.
That would be so fun to play as one of the Bad Batch guys.
So I wonder if that you get like their superpowers, if you can just be Wrecker, like,
yeah.
And will he be like a Hulkbuster kind of minifig or like?
would be down for that. Kay Walton, thank you for the super chat. This could be interesting as a limited animated series. 1 to 2 seasons and done. Would be okay with more of those. I agree. Like, they didn't say how, like, what kind of scale the show is going to be. And it's about the Bad Batch, which is, like, based off of this arc that was, like, just part of the season 7 stuff. So it'd be interesting to have this be a one-off season, or maybe 1 or 2 seasons, and then we get some other arcs that didn't get made.
Maybe. That's not really the direction I'd like to go. Like, if they were going to do Dark Disciple and Son of Dathomir and stuff, I'm like, okay, you said the Clone Wars Season 7 was the final season, and now you're just still doing the Clone Wars. It would be great and cool to see all that stuff animated, but I'm also, like, ready to go do something new.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but it's doing really well. So
I know. Oh, yeah. And I would never... I know that would excite a lot of people, and great. Like, I'm sure I would watch it all and love it. It's just, like, not my first.
Crosshair was his name.
Crosshair. I knew it was. Thank you, Daniel S. I knew it was something that made sense like that, but not too far out of left field.
Sleep of Giants, thank you for the super chat. No question. I just like you guys. Here's the money. Thank you,
Sleep of Giants.
Thank you for the money. Keeps our lights on and keeps us going.
Caleb Diaz, thank you for the super chat. Was this a canceled Celebration announcement? Probably.
Yeah, I imagine any news we get going forward for the rest of the year is going to be something that was planned for Celebration, and they're maybe just gonna
trickle.
Yeah, spread it out, trickle it out, whatever. Which I kind of like better, I guess, if we're not gonna have a physical Celebration or a digital one. Just give us a little bit at a time.
I mean, it's definitely a little easier on us.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, let's do a video on it. Hey, let's do a live chat on it. This is fun. Like, getting to speculate on whatever, and instead of, like, just a big news dump, which, who knows, maybe they're still going to do that, and then we'll do, like, just a big news dump live chat. But
that would be fun.
Jinox C, thank you for the super chat. We still don't know what happened to Omega and Delta Squad since Republic Commando 2 game and Karen Travis books never released continuation. I would be surprised if they were in the show. Delightfully surprised, because Delta Squad is in the Clone Wars in one episode.
Yeah.
But it's definitely them. So, I don't know. It would be a shock to me if they were like, let's pick up their story, since in canon we don't really know it. Mm-hmm. But we could just assume, it's the same as the Legends one. I think that'd be cool.
I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, okay, more Bad Batch, that's fine. But Delta Squad, yes, please. I don't know. The show's called Bad Batch, so I don't know if we'll see Delta Squad.
It would be cool to see some Republic Commandos, like, around more in Star Wars at all. Like, because really they're in that one episode, mm-hmm. and they're in Battlefront 2.
Yeah.
But very little story content.
Again, if this ends up being like a multi-season animated show, maybe we get him in season 2 or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
Robbie Roy, thank you for the super chat. Would you like to see a canon clone Uprising on Kamino? It would be some classic gritty Clone Wars drama like the incident on Umbara. So, yeah, that would be interesting.
I'm trying to think of how exactly the phasing out of clones goes. I do think that would be awesome. That's something that happened in Legends. We know, obviously, that clones get phased out in favor of conscripts and just normal humans. But it would be interesting if the reason why is because the clones shut down the cloning process.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
They just blow that place up.
Yeah, like they had to go attack their home. That's an emotional finale.
They sink it. It's all underwater now.
I'd be okay, I think, with the, like, I don't know, it feels a little weird canon-wise. Like, I feel like there's some things that would suggest that is not how it went down, but if they wanted to kind of force that in there, I think that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Carlos Fontes, thank you for the super chat. I think right after Revenge of the Sith, right after Return of the Jedi, and right after The Rise of Skywalker are the most interesting time periods in Star Wars. So glad they're getting explored on Disney+. Yes, I think that this is if we're going to stick within the Skywalker saga time periods, this does feel like a lesser explored era. Mm-hmm. Fallen Order did it, but 5 years down the road, there's a couple books, a couple comics, but I think this is a cool time to look.
Yeah, I know you've said multiple times that you're pretty done with the Skywalkers.
I mean, I'm not done. Like, I'm obviously going to watch this. I'm obviously going to read anything that comes out. It's more that,
I think we get more excited about the new stuff.
I was really bummed about the High Republic being delayed because I'm like, that's new. That's so new. Like, it's not even from Legends. It's just that idea of the unknown. The Mandalorian was always intriguing to me because it was like, I don't know anything about these people. Mm-hmm. Like, it's exciting to get to just experience something brand new.
And I've seen a lot of people, like, on Twitter say things like, I wasn't pumped when we first heard about The Mandalorian, and I love it. So, like, they were comparing that to what may happen with this Bad Batch show.
Go ahead.
The French Taunter, thank you for the super chat. Do you think there's a chance we could see Hondo in future seasons of The Mandalorian? I think he'd be a great fit. Possibly. What do you think?
In The Mandalorian, yeah, I think he would fit very well. Sorry, I saw Daniel S. calling me out, saying that he thought it was R2-F2 as Biggs's astromech droid. Oh, and we're both right, interestingly. I think in Legends it was R2-Q2, but now it's R2-F2. So good to know.
Can't believe you didn't know that.
I didn't know that, but...
Shame on you. I mean, they made Hondo a part of Galaxy's Edge. They could probably plop him into anything if they wanted to, but...
I do think he would fit in The Mandalorian, but again, it's like... Okay, we already have a lot of cameos gearing up for The Mandalorian, so I don't want to have yet another one.
Yeah. Right. I'm not doing this. It's just like when I get to a certain point, it jumps down.
Okay.
But it didn't.
We're catching up.
Yeah. All right.
Brett Baumler, thank you for the super chat. According to Kessel Run Transmissions, the show will feature a lot of clone characters besides the ones we know like Cody and Rex. What clone characters could we expect? I mean, Wolf and Gregor come to mind.
Yeah, definitely Wolfpack.
Yeah. Who else is alive? I'm sure there are a ton of named clones that I'm just not thinking of, but those are the big ones that I... Grease dead. Bly?
Did we get a closure story for Kix?
No, and he would have been in stasis by this point.
They could pull him out.
No, he doesn't get pulled out until... He's the one that's alive, like, in the sequel trilogy. So he's lost for a long, long time.
Just cut to him being asleep.
They're like, we have to find Kix, and it's just asleep in his tube.
Like, Order 66 happens, and he wakes up, and then he's like...
Yeah, looks around. No Jedi? All right. Still crashed here? Great.
Great. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Maybe we'll get some new names. of clones. Hitman Hudson, thank you for the super chat. I want a Yularen show and a Rail Avaros show. We talked about Yularen at some point and like what his transition looked like.
That'd be interesting to have him in this show.
Yeah, just going from working with the Jedi to then being a bad guy. What a jerk.
Well, like, that's worth exploring, I think. I mean, is he a bad guy, or like what is his mindset? And we could see that here. Rex could be like, hey, we worked together a lot, and like the Jedi didn't betray the Republic, and I had this chip in my head, and it's like then we could get like, then Yularen might be kind of a jerk.
Is he a spy in the Empire?
I mean, that would be a pretty tragic end for him.
Yeah.
Just to like get blown up by the rebels.
And Rail Avaros, I don't think he would get his own show, but he is a really interesting character.
I think he works well for the books. I mean, I guess he could get his own show, but like the Maverick, like one night stand kind of Jedi. I mean, that's I don't know that they would put that in a in a series of its own. Jake, thank you for the super chat. What do you think happens if the chips are activated when there are no Jedi around? And do they eventually turn off, or are they always activated now? It's kind of like
what I was saying with
right.
Kicks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, let's talk about Cut LaQuaine, the deserter. I imagine his chip went off.
Oh, no. For a second, I was like, did he kill his family? No.
Oh, no.
They're not Jedi.
Yeah, I think his chip went off, and he probably like felt this urge to do some violence against the Jedi, but he's like, no one's around, back to farming. That's kind of how I imagine it went.
Yeah, or like, did he just like up and leave his family? Like, I have a mission now.
I hope not. I don't think so. I think it was just like are there any Jedi in the immediate area? If so, attack. And based on the comics, I think that the chip probably wore off over time. Caleb, when he was still a Padawan, he was hunted for like months by 2 clones that he worked with. So they definitely felt like they were on a mission, but by the time they caught up with him, Kanan was kind of able to convince one of them, like, you don't want to do this, we were friends. And he's like, you're right, we were. So I think the power of the chip wears off over time. And then in the Darth Vader comic, we see a Jedi reactivate Order 66. And in a way that it was like, shoot all Force sensitives in this surrounding area. So the fact that it could be reactivated makes me think that over time it had like shut off.
Yeah. Jake Dalton, thank you for the super chat. Being that the Bad Batch will be taking mercenary jobs, do you think there's any chance we could see Kanan early on in his smuggler life?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And again, like, I want to say no.
I'm bad at keeping up with timelines. Would that line up for just after Order 66 kind of time?
Yeah. But he was on the run at that point, so I'm going to guess no. He'd also be very young, like...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Jedi, with the exception of...
Maybe a couple, like... And maybe one of their jobs is to hunt down a Jedi, or...
That's true. People have brought up the name Quinlan Vos and, Barriss Offee. I definitely think Ahsoka's going to be in it.
That is interesting. So Quinlan Vos was mentioned in those Darth Vader comics as well as being a likely survivor of Order 66. And knowing how long they work on these animated series, like, that timing could line up if they knew Quinlan Vos was going to be in this, and they jumped, like, they're like, we'll put him in this comic.
Yeah.
That'll be a sweet connection down the line.
But then you think about the Dark Disciple book, and, like, that's such a good story, and it's already been told in a canon book, but do you want to see that in maybe, like, its own one-off type show?
I mean, it's a great story. I'd like to see it visually realized. If they announced that they were going to do it, I'd be like, cool, I'm on board. But if
I'd be more excited for that than something like this, I think.
I'm just like, I've seen that, or I've read that story. I know this story.
Yeah, I just love Ventress.
Yeah, I mean, having an on-screen conclusion would be cool for her. But just, it's not my first choice only because I know it already and I want to be surprised by something new.
Yeah.
Grant GA, Georgia? No, that's Canadian dollars. Grant GA, thank you for the super chat. Is Cody the commander of all clones, including his battalion, and if not, who? I don't know. I mean, I know that in Legends, Cody took on a stormtrooper training kind of job, and he didn't like stormtroopers because he thought that clones were better, because they are, and yeah.
So were there other commander clones out there?
I don't remember. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how many clones are still with the Empire, and I don't know if you just put one clone in charge of all of them, or if they'd still be broken up into...
Yeah, it seems like at the end of Season 7, the other clones were still following him, and he was kind of in charge.
I mean, I don't know that a clone is going to be in charge of the clones. I think they're just going to get turned into stormtroopers, absorbed by the Empire. And again, I think that we're going to see the clones kind of left by the wayside. They're not important anymore. The Empire doesn't care about them. So I don't think there's going to be Cody being elevated to this position of honor is something I don't think is going to happen. I think he's probably going to be more disrespected than anything.
Ooh, what if we see Barriss Offee as an Inquisitor who is now in charge of, the clones that come join the Empire?
Now that's interesting, especially because some clones became Purge troopers. So that could be cool. Or if Cody became a Purge trooper or a Death trooper or something.
The second sister, since Fallen Order has Purge troopers and she's there with them, and I don't know, cool to think about. Carlos Fontes, thank you for the super chat. What would you like to see explored in a post the Rise of Skywalker animated series? I mean, honestly, I have no idea, but I like to think that Rey trains Finn.
That would be my immediate reaction, is Rey starting the Jedi Order and training Finn, and hopefully this time it sticks.
And Rose is in it.
The thing about this
has things to do and say. Sorry.
No, what I want I'm talking about this in a video soon, but I want the next stories we get after the Rise of Skywalker to just be a big time jump. And I want the Jedi Order to be, if not back to the level where it was in the prequels, a solid thing in the galaxy. I don't really want to struggle through this, will they, won't they again. The Jedi should just be back. And I think jumping way into the future to that point in time, and then maybe filling in those gaps later, that sounds cool to me, because it's okay, we already did this and it failed again.
Yeah.
Cameron Taylor, thank you for the super chat. Do you think the Bad Batch could become Scar Squadron? That's Task Force 99 again. We discussed this earlier. I'll try to give you my truncated version. I'm going to guess no. I always thought that Scar Squadron was more inspired by the Bad Batch and not literally them. But that doesn't mean that I'm right. It was just the feeling I got, especially because Creel, I think, is their sergeant's name at that point in time. So I'm going to guess no.
We could see, maybe the Empire knows that the Bad Batch is still out there, and they're like, that's a cool idea, we're going to steal it. And then they make their own version of the Bad Batch. Matt Thornton, thank you for the super chat. Going off topic, but I loved your video on The Last of Us Part 2. The game offered a different and unique perspective and took big risks. I find all the haters' lack of perspective disturbing.
The farther away the screen gets, the harder it is to read.
I'm getting old.
We were laughing about I was making a video like that because I was like, Star Wars news is kind of slow, and then the day I put out a Last of Us 2 video, it's like, here's a new series to talk about. It's like, great, okay.
I will be sure to plug that video tomorrow or whenever the hype for this dies down a little bit, because it's a great video. We don't talk about much outside of Star Wars, but I really enjoyed your take on it.
I tied it into Star Wars, but
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where it really spoke to me. I thought it was great, and I was reading comments, and everyone that disagrees was being very respectful about it, which is great. Some people were just like, the story wasn't for me. It was too violent, and which is fair.
Yeah,
it is a
violent.
Gruesome and hard to play game at times. So it's one of those really divisive things on the internet where it's like, okay, you don't have to choose a side and live and die on it.
Right.
But having not being inside the Last of Us fandom, it's fun to talk about that and be like, I don't really care if I make the Last of Us 2 haters mad. Just
well, you took a part of the game and you made it relevant in Star Wars, so you tweaked it. It was great.
Crocodilian Eye, thank you for the super chat. What are your thoughts on a First Order era show? Kind of the same. I'd be on board with it, but it's not my first instinct.
Yeah. Didn't we get a young reader book or series about First Order troops training?
No.
Nothing about Finn?
Well, there was Before the Awakening, that was one story. Are you thinking of Servants of the Empire?
Maybe.
I don't know. Again, my instinct is to do something wildly different. And I do understand that Lucasfilm is a business and so is Star Wars, and it's hey, the Clone Wars did really well. This is a safe bet. I get it. And I do think it sounds like the show has substance. It's not just a mindless cash grab, but
right.
I would be over the moon if they announced a High Republic show, or a Dr. Aphra show keeps getting thrown around. And while that is still in the original trilogy era, it's separated from the main story for the most part.
It's wildly different.
Yes.
So they just released an excerpt from the new Aphra audio.
I have not listened to that yet.
Drama, so check that out if you're interested. Drace90, thank you for the super chat. Congrats to your Schmodown wins. Thank you. Had a blast watching. Also, here's what happened to the clones. It starts with a G and ends with a N aside.
That's sad. I mean, that it'll be interesting to see. I don't really think they're gonna get hunted down the way the Jedi are.
Oh boy.
But I don't think anything really good is gonna happen to them either. So
yeah. Sorry. Well. You saw what happened.
No, I did. I think it's just the chat only goes so far, and then it's nope, you're done.
Go through these a little quicker so we can catch up.
Yeah.
Bad batch. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? I need to make that a little more original.
Yeah.
It's not my best work.
What's the first question you see?
From someone named, I'll make it easy. Daniel S. saying, I was almost.
Super chat.
Huh?
Super chat.
Oh, the first super chat I see is from Harold.
Okay.
Grundachern.
I got it.
I can't read names. We'll get to that one as soon as we get caught up.
The next super chat is from Post. Thank you for the super chat. And he just said, or they said, yes, the Last of Us video you posted was terrific. Thank you. I did enjoy making it. And I had to talk about it after playing it because I had a lot of thoughts. Next up is from Dragonis Prime. Thank you for the super chat. Personally, I think characters like Yularen and the Grand Inquisitor are more likely than Darth Vader or any Jedi.
Like to see it.
To appear.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I think Yularen would be. That's a question we get all the time. Like, how did Yularen and other like non-clone officers react to Order 66? It's like, well, now we can have that answered.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's caught up. Okay.
Okay. So we will try to. We've been going for almost an hour.
Harold.
You just said it.
I know. Grundetchern.
Grundetchern.
I hope that's right. Thank you for the super chat. Commander Cody in the Mandalorian or Kenobi TV series. What do we think?
Now I think no to both. Maybe flashbacks for Kenobi, but I think that Cody is very likely to appear in The Bad Batch. Less likely to appear farther down the line, especially The Mandalorian. I mean, there's rumors that Rex will, but it would be weird if Cody also just like kicked the door in. Like, I'm here too.
Yeah. Adam Allison, thank you for the super chat. How do you feel about Commander Fox being in the show? Asking because he killed Fives and he never really
did anything
until Vader killed him later on. Also, he's my favorite clone.
Really? That's one you don't hear a lot.
Yeah.
Fox. Yeah, I think that's possible. Again, I think any clone is like, that could happen here.
I really like this next one.
I think it's possible, but he also dies pretty quickly in the Darth Vader comic. So there's a very small window there where he can appear. I don't know.
Yeah.
Possible.
John Booze, thank you for the super chat. Could the Bad Batch be the early protectors of the baby? So baby
in your Schitt's Creek voice.
So little baby Yoda, could he show up in this show?
No. Sorry, but no, I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not. He would steal the show.
It's true.
No one would care about anything else.
That's true.
Or maybe that's just me.
He's just gonna be the mascot. Like that will just scream corporate like all over it.
Sure.
Here comes Baby Yoda again. Caleb Diaz, thanks for another super chat. What if the Bad Batch is hired to hunt down Maul? I could see that. That's. I mean, we were talking about Dryden Voss. I really think he'll be in it now, considering they made him a model.
Yeah.
That feels like more than just an Easter egg. I could see. The only person I could see like sending them after Maul would be maybe the Emperor, but I don't think he'd ask clones to do that. The Inquisitors seem more up for that task. Maybe another crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Black Sun or Dryden Voss vying for power, but
but then we all know how that ends up.
Right. Since he's still alive by Solo, I doubt that would happen.
Yeah.
But I definitely see Dryden Voss hiring them to do something.
Claire Rockwell, thank you for the super chat. Do y'all think there's any way Rex and Ahsoka could make their way into the Bad Batch series? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they don't, I'll be very surprised.
We've been talking about that throughout this stream, but I think Rex is very likely. Ahsoka probably as well, but she's someone that I'm like, she doesn't have to.
Yeah.
And she should sit out for a year, at least, of the timeline. So.
Oh, because of the book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
Speaking of more cameos, Psychopather Thank you for the super chat. Any chance we could see Cal Kestis, Jaro Tapal, or any other characters from Fallen Order in the show?
I mean, we talked about the second sister, maybe.
But even that, the timeline doesn't quite match up, because Fallen Order is 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. So Cal's in hiding. Jaro Tapal's dead. If the synopsis is to be believed, and we're talking the immediate aftermath of the Clone Wars, they shouldn't be around. And then Trilla doesn't become the second sister for a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So, again, I think it's unlikely, unless we're talking about flashbacks, and maybe the Bad Batch went on a mission with Cal and Jaro, which would be cool. But
or if we get a season 2 and they jump ahead.
They'd have to jump ahead a lot.
Yeah. Brett Baumler, thank you for the super chat. Could Boba show up given his inherent connection to the clones? They never finished his arc on Clone Wars, and if the Bad Batch are mercenaries, it would make sense that he might run into them sometime.
I like that logic.
That's very true.
I don't think they're going to do his arc from the Clone Wars, because they seem to have just been working under the assumption that all that stuff happened. We just haven't gotten to see it yet. But I think we could see him appear as Boba Fett, like in full-on time to bounty hunt mode.
Time to bounty hunt. Yeah, that's another character that I feel like, excuse me, Lucasfilm might be keeping in their pocket for something else, but always up for a cameo.
Chronix Ow, thank you for the super chat. Mace Windu alive? Disney Plus show maybe about him?
No.
The reason I say no on Mace Windu is because I think that Anakin's role in his death is very important to Anakin.
Well, Palpatine came back.
I know. That's why I'm like, please no.
He got thrown out of a window. Come on, guys.
He was electrocuted. Like, also, he was not screaming when he was thrown out of the window. I think he was already dead by that point. But, like, that's a pivotal moment for Anakin, and having Mace come back. Stranger things have happened in Star Wars, so it's not impossible. It's just that, for me, I'd be like, all right, here we go. Which I did for Darth Maul. I rolled my eyes when Darth Maul came back, and I love his story. It's just, it can work, but for me, it usually doesn't.
Yeah. TY, thank you for the super chat. Finally caught a live stream. Can't stay, but I'll be back. I hope you both are well. Thank you for everything. Question, do you have a signet?
Oh, it's a good idea.
Do we?
We don't have a clan signet yet. We should think of something.
If we could somehow put couch bed on.
Okay. Our couch.
Yeah.
I mean,
we spend a lot of time on the couch.
It's accurate.
Or like a chewed up pair of headphones. Something relative to the dog destroying all of our stuff. But thank you for your kind words and super chat.
Brandon Hallbrook, thank you for the super chat. Off topic, but how did you get into the Schmodown? Our buddy Ken Knapsack was kind of our first introduction. We met him on Twitter at first. I was a fan of the Jedi Council, Collider's Jedi Council, and that podcast. And so I got to know Ken, met him at Celebration Orlando, where they were doing a Star Wars trivia panel. So I went and watched that and got to meet everyone else. And Ken introduced me to Christian.
I was there too.
Yeah. And then I think the following year, maybe it was later that year, they were going to do an in-studio one, and they invited me to be a part of it. And so that was it.
Lots of credit to Ken, I think, because I think he mentioned watching your videos to study for matches, and I think that really piqued Christian's interest. And yeah, now we're really in it.
Yeah, and then I started winning, and I was talking about how Molly knows all this stuff too because she helps me study, and so then she got in, and that's the short version.
I won one game. I'm very proud of it. Another one from Jake. Thank you, Jake Berlin. Since they're mercenaries, which favorite bounty hunters could you see popping up? It feels like a prime story for it. True.
I mean, yeah, we already mentioned Boba Fett.
Cad Bane.
I'm becoming more and more... Yeah, we haven't seen Cad Bane in a long time, so...
I mean, if they... that was going to be their Clone Wars story, right?
It is possible. It is possible that he is dead.
Cad Bane was the one that put the
dent.
The pock in Boba Fett's helmet.
So. It's possible. I would like to see or get some sort of closure for Cad Bane. I've become a fan of Byler Valance recently. I always thought that he was kind of silly, but the stuff they're doing with him in the Bounty Hunter comics now, I like him. So, but he doesn't really become a bounty hunter for a bit longer. He has to go through stormtrooper training and stuff, so that wouldn't work.
I just happened to see Aura Singh, Dengar.
Yeah, anyone that popped up in the Clone Wars, I think, sure, why not?
Yeah. Okay, I think we're getting caught up here.
I think we are. This is good. We've been going for about an hour, and I've got
other stuff to do.
I had a whole day planned of work, and then this happened, and we were like, let's talk about it. So yeah.
Evan Lang, thank you for the super chat. I thought the clones were phased out gradually over the years between episode 3 and 4. Why do you think the Empire would cut loose one of their best squads so soon?
I think that's an answer we will see in the show.
Yeah.
I think it's because Palpatine views people by their usefulness, and I don't think he views the clones as useful anymore. The Jedi are gone. He doesn't need them. They're also relics of the Republic, and he might question their loyalty. I think it's mostly the usefulness thing, that he's just well, you did what I needed you to do, and now I throw you in the trash, regardless of whether or not you can be useful now.
Yeah. Reef Tan, thank you for moderating, and also Daniel S., thank you for taking care of the moderation for us. He said, make sure to leave this video a like, which we brought up in the last
Thanks,
live
Reef
stream. Always helps us out, so if you want us to keep doing more live streams, and if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up.
That'll be it for today's stream. We are planning on doing another Lego stream Wednesday evening, so get ready for that. We're going to finish that A-Wing. We're going to do it.
Yeah, we have a couple bags
Two
left?
bags left.
2 bags left.
I can do it. I just get distracted, and I stop building, and I just start talking, and I need to...
Yeah, something interesting comes up, and you're like, now hold on.
Yeah. Let me put the pieces down. So yeah, we will be back live streaming Wednesday evening at some point. I don't know exactly when, but thank you for hanging out with us and discussing the Bad Batch today. Hopefully we learn more, and hopefully more news keeps dropping between now and when Celebration was gonna be, and we'll just keep doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totes.
Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Bye. I'll have an updated Bad Batch song next time.